What's up, champs? Welcome back. In this video, we're talking about how to build 3D shoulders. Listen, guys, there's a lot of guys that want to build their chest. There's a lot of guys that want to build their biceps, but I see a lot of guys neglecting hitting their shoulders. And I'd vouch to say, when you hit your shoulders the right way and your upper back, you have a more powerful, strong, and dynamic look. When you think about guys like The Rock, he has the big shoulders, the big traps. You don't have to go that crazy with it, but these are guys that understand how to really build their physique to make them look more aesthetic rather than just working your chest and working your arms, which is cool, but that's one of the biggest things that I've found. I've found that when you train your shoulders and you train your back, you can even have, a subpar chest and some subpar arms, and you'll look more powerful. You'll look, more like you have a bigger presence. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what routine I do to build my shoulders. Now, of course, there are other alternative exercises that you can do outside of the exercises that I did in this video, but I'm going to show you what things to do and what alternatives you can do, what mistakes to avoid, along with just some coaching points to make sure that you get the most bang for your buck when you're hitting these shoulders. Now, before we dive in, I want to talk about the different parts of the shoulder, because a lot of people, they don't really know that your shoulder muscles, they're different parts. And so we have the anterior part of your shoulder, basically just the front of your shoulder. Then we have the lateral side, and then we have the rear deltoid, the rear part of your shoulders, right? Now, a lot of times when we train chest, we're doing pushing motions and things like that, or chest flies, we're going to be training a lot of our anterior, more of our front shoulders. And so you'll notice when you do chest presses and push-ups and things like that, the front of your shoulders get more fatigued. And so we're not going to really you won't really see any of the anterior shoulders being hit in this video. You may see a little bit of it, but not a lot, because when I hit chest workouts, that's when I hit the front of my shoulders. More so in this video, I'm going to be showing you the lateral shoulder part, because that's the part that really brings our physique out when we hit the side of our shoulders, right? It makes us look more broad, more aesthetic. And then also the rear part of our shoulders, because it gives us more of that rounded look. Our shoulders look more round, and so we don't really have to hit those muscles like in the front of your shoulders as much, because you really don't see a rounded front shoulder too much. It doesn't really have to pop like that. For the most part, you just want to have the lateral part to pop, and you want to have the rear part to pop. All right, so with that said, let's get to the action. So the first exercise we have in this routine is overhead shoulder press. I love doing the machines. You're gonna have some people that'll say, you want to do free weights over machines. Well, to be totally honest with you, there's really no difference. It's not a big difference as far as like how your body, how your shoulders are going to develop, or whatever muscles you're working for that matter. If you're doing dumbbells or machines and cables and things like that, if you do it the right way, you're still going to see results. I'm starting off kind of light, just to warm my shoulders up, and then as I progress throughout the routine, when I go into my second, my third, and fourth sets, I'm increasing the weight. And so you'll notice whenever you start your routine off, whenever you're starting your workout routine, you want to warm your muscles up. And some people, they'll stretch their muscles out, they'll do some kind of dynamic stretch, but another way that you could do it is just do like a warm-up set. And so it's going to be with much lighter weight, and so that you can just kind of get that muscle activated, so that you can get that muscle warmed up before jumping right into doing extremely heavy weight. I know a lot of some trainers out there, they'll say you want to go super heavy starting out, but just the risk of injury is too high. All right, when you start off super heavy, and so go light in the beginning, and then start to add on weight, and so that your muscles are warmed up. shoulder shrugs. Now, a lot of times, guys think that this is a primary shoulder exercise, but it's more so for our traps. Okay, and you'll notice when you do shoulder shrugs, you'll start to feel them in your traps the next day, if not during the exercise, if you're really squeezing them. And I see one of the big mistakes that a lot of guys make when they're doing shoulder shrugs is that they're rolling their shoulders forward or they're rolling their shoulders backwards. That's a no-go. We don't want to do that. We want to shrug our shoulders directly up towards our ears and then slowly but surely bring them down and then bring them right back up. You don't want to drop them down. You want to gradually bring them down. And so that way, we call this the eccentric phase. A lot of times when we're doing any exercise, when you're lowering the weight or you're lowering your shoulders, like seeing when we talked about shoulder shrugs, you want to go slow because you're still training your muscles. You're still working your muscles on that downward phase, which is also known as the eccentric phase or the lengthening phase when we're doing our exercises, the lengthening of our muscles. Okay, and we can build a lot of strength by lowering our muscle, extending our muscle the right way and lowering the weight the right way. Okay, and so these are shoulder shrugs, great for building the traps, and so that way you have that powerful, aggressive look. Don't overdo it though, unless you want to have traps like The Rock. But I definitely recommend a lot of guys still hit a little bit of traps. It helps you get a little bit more definition and separation between your shoulders. You know, so that way you see the definition in your shoulders as well as in your traps where they separate at, and it gives you kind of a real aggressive, powerful look. But don't overdo it. In this routine is face pulls. Now, when you're doing face pulls, you want to make sure that your chest is high as you're pulling your hands back, and you want to make sure when you're pulling your hands back that your arms make like a double bicep pose. Okay, your arms should make a double bicep pose when you pull your hands back, and so that way you're squeezing your rear delts and you're squeezing your upper back as well, and so that you can get the most out of the exercise. As you can see, we're hitting a lot of lateral shoulders with the shoulder press, and then rear delts with the face pulls, and then we're hitting some traps with the shoulder shrugs. Exercise, which is bent over rear delt shoulder raises. You want to bend over. You want to make sure that your chest is up high. All right, keep your chest up high, and as you're leaning over, you don't have to be parallel to the ground, but you want to be leaning over at a good tilt, and so that way you're not working the lateral part of your shoulder and you're working the rear part of your shoulder. that's it. These are 4 exercises that you can do to build 3D delts. One other exercise that I would throw in here for your lateral shoulders will be just a standard lateral raise with your arms. You can do it with the cable, you can do it with a dumbbell. Either one, you don't need extremely heavy weight to build these muscles. As long as you're doing it properly, as long as you're doing it with a good pace and not trying to blitz and speed through the exercise, you can develop your shoulders. You know, start with 8 to 10 reps and then bump it up to 10 to 12 reps. All right, and as you get stronger and you start to use heavier weight, drop it back down and go back down to 8 reps again. And then as you get stronger, bump it up to 10 reps, bump it up to 12 reps. And of course, if you want to do more, as many reps as possible kind of thing, like the burnouts, you can do that also. But just don't sacrifice your form just to get more reps or just to, stroke your ego. You want to make sure that you're doing these exercises the right way, because when you don't hit your shoulders the right way, over time, you can start to develop some really nagging injuries that can cost you a pretty penny when it comes to having these surgeries. All right, guys, with that said, we're out of here. And be sure to like, comment any questions that you have, and subscribe to the channel. We're out.